All right, what's up, Dragon Brood? We're in day 8 of previews, and there was a lot to cover today. One thing I do want to mention is there's a fair amount of cards that got previewed today that care about creatures with no abilities, and we got like 4 or 5 of those previewed with no abilities. I'm not really going to talk about those because they don't do anything, but just know that it is a thing that is going to be part of the set here. We did have a couple of international previews, so I will have to read translations on these, but this is Spectacular Collision. It's 5 mana, sorcery. All creatures and vehicles lose indestructible to end turn, then destroy all creatures and vehicles. Cycling of 2. Why? Why? Like, we literally have so many sweepers that will be around for still 3 to 5 years. We just didn't need this in this set. And then randomly we get another one that takes away indestructible? Okay, like, why? And it destroys vehicles. So, like, it takes away the benefit of the reason you want people to play more vehicles. Like, why? Just destroys all creatures and vehicles. I don't, like, this just, I don't know. It's frustrating, honestly. Like, I get it. We gotta have sweepers. You want that to be a thing. But also to just, like, make sweepers that target the thing that make the sweepers worse when we already have a ton of them. Terrible. I hate seeing the space wasted in sets. I know somebody's going to argue with me and complain in the comments because you always do, but still ain't changing my opinion. Adrenaline Junkie. It's 3 mana for a 3/3. It's a Minotaur pilot, and whenever a player casts a spell, if it isn't their turn, that this creature deals 4 damage to that player. When you activate an exhaust ability, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Yeah, this one's actually solid. Um, anytime you're worried about playing against counter spells or things that are going to be playing a bunch of removal spells on your turn, like this is good. You get 4 damage in. It's a fairly costed card, being 3 mana for a 3/3, and you potentially get it even larger if you're playing a bunch of exhausts, so why not? All right, looks like Steer Hill Beetle. 2 black green for a 6/6 with trample. It's a vehicle. When it enters, you deal 3, target player loses 3, you gain 3, and you cycle this for 2. Solid. I mean, that's kind of all you can say. Like, it's solid. The life will matter in more games than we'll probably even consider right now. Ooh, excuse me. It does cycle, which is good. So, like, yeah, it's checking the boxes to fit a few different decks. Unstoppable Plan. 2 and a blue for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, untap all non-land permanents you control. Yeah, this is obviously going to be a good card. Like, you have anything that taps for abilities, you get to use them again. Even if you're tapping to exhaust or for vehicles or whatever the case may be, like, you get to untap all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, artifacts that would necessarily tap to do something, you get those again. Yeah, this might be able to be used in a few different decks. Mimeoplasm Revered One. Oh, yeah, Revered One. X, black, green, blue. For an ooze, that's a 0/0, but as it enters, exile up to X creature cards from your graveyard. It enters with 3 +1/+1s on it for each creature exiled this way. And then you can pay 2, Mimeoplasm becomes a copy of target creature card exiled with it, except it's a 0/0 and has this ability. Weird card? Don't know what to make of it, right? Because you need stuff in your graveyard, so you need to self-mill or fill your graveyard first. Then you get to play this as like a, I don't know, let's say you spend 5 mana, it'll be a 6/6, but then you have the option of possibly turning it into one of those things you exiled. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, and sadly, it's likely just going to die to a removal card. So cool, but probably not going to see a lot of play in 60 card. Didn't have a great picture of this one, but Radiant Lotus. 6 mana, artifact, tap, sacrifice 1 or more artifacts, choose a color. Target player adds 3 mana of the chosen color for each artifact sacrificed this way. Like, this is interesting, right? Because if you just sack, and it says 1 or more artifacts, so I guess you could sack itself, and then you would get 3. But if you were to sack, say, 3 artifacts, you get an additional 9 mana the way this reads, right? Target player adds mana to the chosen color for each artifact. Okay, yeah, it's 3 mana per one. So if you sack 3 other artifacts, then you get 9 mana plus whatever else you have for the turn. And if those are mana artifacts, you could tap them first, get the mana, then sacrifice them and do something big. So yeah, somebody will find a thing to do with this, I'm certain. Even if they don't, this will definitely be a thing that's going to do big stuff in Commander. Regal Imperiosaur. 1 green for a 5/4. Whoa, what? Okay. Dinosaur. Wow, not even a drawback. Other dinosaurs you control get +1/+1. Like, I saw 3 mana 5/4, and I'm like, it's probably gonna be something like, you know, minus for the number of cards in your hand or something. Like, no, this card, yes, play this. Like, this is holy smokes. Like a 3 mana 5/4? Yo, what? Really? Like this card, like dinosaurs needed a little bit of help and mono green needed a little bit of help, but yo, like 5/4 for 3 mana, like this is, we're big balling now. Like this is crazy. Burnout Bashtronaut, 1 red for a 1/1 Goblin Warrior with Menace. Start your engines. You can pay 2. This creature gets +1/+0 to a turn, and at max speed it has double strike. Yeah, this is just a solid card. You know, if you want to play anything that does the start your engine stuff, this is one of the cards you're going to want because you want to try to hit one on turn 1 and 2 for sure. And the ability that it can pump gets hard to block. Once you've hit your max speed, then it double strikes and it's even harder to block. Yeah, just a quality little card, and it's a goblin. It's cool seeing all the random characters they brought back, but here's Gonti, Night Minister. 2 black, so 4 mana for a 3/4 Aetherborn Rogue. It is legendary. Whenever a player casts a spell they don't own, that player creates a treasure token. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one or more of your opponents, its controller looks at the top card of that opponent's library and exiles it face down. They may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. Mana of any type may be spent to cast a spell. Okay, cool. There's a lot going on here. So, whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents. So, obviously, in 1v1, it means it's just going to work against your opponent. If you're playing Commander, though, anytime anyone hits anyone else, they'll get to steal a card. And you look at the top card of the opponent's library. So, 1v1, you get to look at your opponent's top card, and then you put it face down. And then you can cast it in the future. Yeah, this thing's going to cause chaos in Commander tables. For Standard, it's playable, but I don't know if it's particularly that much better than other things you would be doing. Unless you're playing something that just makes a lot of tokens or something, and then you're getting to see multiple cards from the top of your opponent's library, stuff like that. But, yeah, I don't know. Because it isn't win 1 or more. It's just win a creature. So, I guess it triggers each time. So, that could be a lot of cards, potentially. It's an interesting design. We'll see how it ends up. Lumbering Worldwagon. 2 and a green for an X4 vehicle. This creature's power is equal to the number of lands you control. Okay. When this vehicle enters or attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, tapped, and shuffle. It's not bad. It does crew for 4, which is a big downside because, you know, that's a pretty significant investment. And you don't always have 4 power worth of creatures. But, I mean, a lot of times this is going to be like a 6/4, 7/4. Like a real threat your opponents have to deal with, and it's going to be getting more land onto the battlefield, which is huge. So there's probably some upside here. Guardian Sunmare, 3 white for a 5/5 horse mount. Oh, that's cool because we had the Sunmare or whatever in the previous whatever set from the desert place, Amonkhet. But this has Ward 2. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, search your library for a non-land permanent card with mana value 3 or less. Put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Saddle for 4. Wow, this thing's cool. Now, again, we just said saddle for 4, not always a thing you're going to have. But it's a 5 mana 5/5. It does have ward, so it's hard to kill. And then you get to get a 3 or less permanent. Not go get a creature, go get an artifact. Like, it's not restricted, so you could go get a variety of things that'd be very good. Like enchantments that remove stuff, you could go search for those. Maybe there's an artifact you want, a vehicle you want to get to have like post sweeper potentially. Maybe just another creature. Maybe you need to go find a flyer or something. Wow, I don't even know what we're going to do with this card, but it feels pretty good for 5 mana. All right, y'all, I have to say, today's cards were nuts. I did not expect them to be what they were. Y'all let me know how shocked y'all are by a couple of these, because I am genuinely blown away with stuff I didn't expect to see in this set. So if you were looking for some cards to push up over the top and you haven't been enjoying this set so far, there's a lot to build around in this set and some cool cards that are just going to slot right into some things. So I don't know, but I'll go ahead and link days 5, 6, and 7 so you can get caught up there, over there. But yeah, otherwise, it's all of you for now. We'll see you next time.